Okay, guys, alternate ending. Take 43.
With so many movies on the net and TV, it's kind of hard being up and film savvy. Do you catch a show while you're on the go? And how do you know what to keep or what to throw? How do you know what to keep or what to throw? Tune in to alternate ending. Tune in to alternate ending. Now, please give a warm welcome to the hosts of Alternate Ending.
Welcome to Alternate Ending. We're discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I'm film school dropout Robert Jarsinski. Across from me is our casual moviegoer Carrie Jarsinski and our very own critic in residence Tim Braden. With Red Sparrow and Death Wish, each featuring not so nice protagonists hitting theaters this weekend, we're covering our top 5 anti-heroes. Wait, dang it! I said anti again.
That's right. That's right. Run with it.
Anti-heroes.
Go for it.
But first, Care. I know it's not your birthday quite yet, but I'm thinking in advance, and I've got you.
Don't tell me. You always tell me what you're going to get me in advance, and I don't want to know.
Well, I feel like I need to give it to you in advance because I'm a little concerned about your safety. I've procured a Life Alert bracelet for you.
Okay.
Because of what happened this week.
Really? Mm-hmm. Really?
You want to talk a little bit about what happened?
I actually don't want to talk about that now.
I think you must.
I had an accident.
You did?
I didn't tell you about this one too much,
Did
Tim.
you pee a little bit?
I didn't pee.
Oh, thank gosh you peed first.
Oh my gosh. How did you know that was the first thing that I was worried about? No, but seriously, this is my first concern. So for those of you who don't know,
Nobody knows this.
I know.
Just us.
So.
Oh, right. So
Not
for
even
everybody.
all of us. I mean,
for everybody
I'm
else.
All I know is that you didn't pee. So now
I didn't pee.
In my head, you have not drunk water in 7 days.
I know.
And you were dehydrating.
So I had an episode earlier this week where, like an old woman that I am, my back went out on me.
Right.
And I swear to you, that was my first concern. So, and my back went, not only did my back go out on me, I also fainted and fell on the bathroom floor.
Which happened first, the back or the fainting?
Back. So I tried to get up. Rob was actually there, thankfully.
Well, let's set this up a little bit.
No, I don't want to set it up.
I was 5, and this how it always happens with these types of things, right? I'm 5 hours away in Superior, Wisconsin, which for anybody who knows Wisconsin, it is on the tippy top.
It's a little ways away.
It is the northernmost thing that can still be considered Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct.
It is, yeah.
And we live in Madison, which is not quite the southernmost part,
south,
but
yeah.
it's pretty much.
It's cozily far to the south.
So 5 hours away, I get a text at
Still
7.
got Janesville below us.
There you go. There is Janesville.
Yeah.
And
nice.
Beloit.
And Beloit.
Rockford.
So
which is in Illinois.
I get a text at 7 in the morning. I'm about ready to start getting ready for the day and go into a big meeting for work, and get a text. My back is out, Rob. At 7 in the morning, Carrie's with our 2 kids, has no way to get them to where they need to be or to take care of them.
I handled it. I managed it. So I write the neighbors. I was like, hey, guys, just so you know, I can't really move. So do you think you can take my kids somewhere where they're not here?
We had superhero neighbors.
Superhero neighbors. So yeah,
Came over with their prescriptions.
So that was another part of the problem. My neighbor is not the smallest of folks. And he's like, I'm really out of it at this point. He starts throwing me pills, and I was like, yeah, I'll just take them.
Oh, jeez.
I'm really fine with taking them. So 5 hours later, after I woke up in a pile of drool, I realized that was probably not the best idea. But yeah, so Rob gets home. I didn't move for 5 hours.
So you say you fainted when you mean you got stoned.
So the first time I got stoned, then I didn't faint the first time, even though I should have. I lost vision, and my ears started to ring.
It was a close call.
It was a close call. Then I went to the bathroom. Thankfully, Rob was there. Sometimes when I question being married and is this thing worth it? So it's really worth it when you need someone to pull down your pants.
Rather than going to the hospital.
I think when you're not married is when you have the best success with that.
I had suggested, rather than me coming 5 hours driving, I wanted to make my meeting, but that was part of it in the back of the selfish part of the back of my mind.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, of course. I'm just being honest. Honesty is the best policy.
You hadn't mentioned this to me.
But
kind of a turnoff.
I had told Carrie, call 911, get in an ambulance, and go to the ER. You were fine. So she waited for 5 hours just laying on the couch, not doing, high.
I was high.
On medication.
Tripping balls on Percocet.
Right.
Not answering her phone, which made me fear for her life. And so the neighbor came over once more just to make sure she was alive.
All of a sudden I hear
She
like
was
my
asleep.
name, people calling out to me, and I was just laying there. But again, I hadn't wet my pants. So that was my biggest concern. What happens if I wet my pants and somebody sees it?
Got home 5 hours later, and we were going to make a journey to the urgent care.
Right.
Managed to get Carrie to the restroom to relieve herself.
Right.
And we pop her back up, and then out she went.
Yeah, it
Out she went.
was not great. Not a
it
great
was,
moment.
and in all seriousness, probably the scariest moment in my life. Carrie did this thing where her eyes
I
were
think we're good. We're good on the
open,
detail.
And she was non-responsive with her eyes open. So I thought, I don't know what to think.
So I
it
want
was
to tell
pretty
you the
scary.
highlight of the
I
story.
mean, you should have let me know immediately. I could have started asking around my program to see who we could have had be our casual.
I know, and that was my concern. It's like, what are we going to do
we
with the
can
podcast?
upgrade.
I mean, because
we can upgrade.
we didn't have time to push the recording. We record Sunday night for a Monday morning release. It's not like we could have beat the bushes.
I know.
It had to be done quickly here.
You guys, unfortunately, I'm here, but
No, it's fortunate. I don't think I could have gotten anyone for a Sunday on shut.
you don't think so.
I mean, now I can start asking
Not
around.
for a
So
good
if
rate,
If
yeah.
you think you're going to become like some sort of pill fiend and be incapable of recording the show, just let me know.
I definitely will.
I'm fine with that.
The one thing I'm actually thinking about getting into. So they actually, after I went to the ER, the ambulance picked me up, which was nice of them. And so after like 9 hours of being in the ER, they send me away with some pills, and they're like, here's
They also
some.
called you unremarkable, which I thought was
They
was
said
pretty,
that?
Yeah,
I mean, that's almost like your official job.
I'm looking at your file here, and it's pretty unremarkable.
I was like-
That's like a good thing. That's like negative. Like
Right.
when they say negative, and that's like a
Well,
positive.
because he said, he's like, we're trying to rule out a lot of things. And I was like, okay, well, as long as I make my podcast on Sunday is what I said. And as long as I haven't pooped myself, like I'm okay. So they hand me some Valium. I don't know if you've ever taken Valium before.
I've taken Valium.
So I want to know your experience with
Taking
it.
Valium right now.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay.
Recording the podcast.
Well, I don't even know what Valium is.
It's a sedative.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't think this is actually going to work on me because pills don't really work on me. And so this is the cusp of this entire story and why we're actually talking about it today. That this is amazing. So I'm taking the Valium and I'm like, I don't really feel any better. I don't really feel any different. So Rob's upstairs on Friday, and we have a lady that comes to help us because our house is disgusting sometimes. And so she comes and she's very nice, helping us clean our house. And I was like, again, Valium, it doesn't work on me. It doesn't work on my body. Maybe it's my stature. Maybe I need a higher dose, something like that.
And she recommended crushing it and snorting it.
She did. Well, she doesn't entirely speak English. And so I'm sitting there just chilling in the shower, and in walks the cleaning lady. And she's like, hola. And I was like, hola. And I was just standing there, and it's an all glass shower. So like, I'm just there in my glory. And that is the moment when I knew the Valium was working. I was just like, it happens.
Despite there
It's
being
totally
a prescription
So
drug
this is
epidemic.
ultimately a story about how your uncontrolled pill popping led you to explore a life of lesbian sex.
You know, that is the moral of the
Because
story.
I feel like that's every Susan Hayward movie.
And that was my week.
All right.
Well, we're
Yeah.
glad you're back and sitting up straight.
I had Thai for dinner last night.
Oh, you win.
I know, right?
You win.
It was a little extra spicy.
It was barbecue. No, it was actually less than usual because it was like, well, the barbecue pork and ginger sauce looks good, which I usually don't get because I like spicy, and this was mild.
Always have to
But there was
top
broccoli.
me.
There was broccoli.
Okay.
Always a topper.
story
Always
topper.
a story topper.
Well, somehow we managed to watch movies despite this ordeal. Tim, did you get a chance to watch any movies this week?
Some I did. I can try and pull that number together real quick. But yeah, so it's been kind of a weird week, and I kept missing my bus to go to the movie theater, so I had to keep like scrounging up other things to do. But one thing I did see was the new to Netflix film Mute.
I didn't know it was on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. So Duncan Jones, the creator of Moon in 2009 and Source Code in I think 2011, and then a couple years ago he made Warcraft, has for many years, basically since Moon came out, and Moon is a great movie, just, FYI, it's one of the great sci-fi films of the 21st century, since then has been talking up this idea he had for a film called Mute, which is going to be a film noir, and at first it wasn't going to be sci-fi, but then it was going to be sci-fi, and it was going to be sort of like a Blade Runner-esque, like the future is like this neon, wet, shitty hell, plus there's like film noir. So he's been shopping the script around for years and years and years. Finally, Netflix, as part of their big push to get like interesting genre films, like sort of projects that would, maybe have a hard time making it commercially, but are kind of a good fit for the next Netflix audience. They financed Mute. They premiered it on Friday, and I missed my bus to go see Annihilation. So I was like, well, one sci-fi film by a visionary director is as good as another. So I spooled up Duncan Jones's Mute.
How was it?
I learned why nobody had funded the screenplay.
Oh, no.
It's so bad.
You said written by Duncan?
Written and directed by Duncan Jones. Yeah, it's crap. It's a crap movie.
It's bad.
It's two stories. One is that one of the Skarsgårds is Alexander, I think, is mute. He is a mute Amish bartender in future Berlin.
Of course.
And his girlfriend has gone missing. So he's hunting for her throughout the seedy underbelly of like this gorgeous neon lit future Berlin. And then Paul Rudd and Justin Theroux are a pair of shady American surgeons doing like weird elective limb replacement surgery in Berlin as well. And these two stories move together forward and they never intersect. So you just sort of assume at some point they will. And of course they do. And the problem is that the story about Alexander Skarsgård has too many like moving parts that don't do anything. Like he doesn't need to be Amish. He only kind of needs to be mute. He doesn't need to be a bar. Like none of this is like germane to anything. It's just kind of like details that are piling up. But it's a functional detective story, at least. The story with Paul Rudd and Justin Theroux is more weird and interesting and like actually uses the setting, which that's one of the big problems with this film. It's this really elaborate Blade Runner-esque neon lit future for no reason.
Yeah.
And it's ugly. It doesn't even look like as good as Blade Runner looked in 1982. Mute looks worse than that now. The visuals are just really bland and boring.
I feel like it was built up to be something more than that.
It was, and it ain't. But so at least the Rudd and Theroux plotline uses that setting in an interesting way, but also the characters are just so unbearable to spend time with, and the movie doesn't seem to realize that. There's this like running gag about how one of them is a pedophile, and I do say a running gag about how one of them is a pedophile because we're meant to find this amusing, and it's not. And it's awful and sour, and I didn't like it, and I was really heartbroken because Mute is one of my favorites, and this movie Moon, I should say, and this movie like hooks into the Moon universe in a way that doesn't do it any good, but it's sort of there.
That's disappointing for a couple of reasons. Just it prolongs Netflix's inability to provide me with any. I mean, it sounds like I haven't seen it, but it's from what you're describing, I'm not interested. And then also saddens me a little bit for Duncan Jones too.
A little bit. He's now gone 2 for 2 bad movies. He had his first 2 were good. His next 2 were not. And I no.
So skip this one.
Yeah,
skip it entirely.
There's just nothing pleasurable about it.
Okay.
How about you, Care?
But it is on Netflix. So
it is on Netflix.
So if you miss your bus to see an actual good movie, you can do this.
I caught 3 this week. So I saw Game Night, which was one of Rob's most anticipated. Darkest Hour, which I was catching for Oscar purposes. And then I caught Annihilation. So those are my 3.
Nice. What do you feel like talking about?
I don't know. Should I talk about Annihilation?
I can take.
You want to take Annihilation?
Sure.
You take Game Night.
Okay, I'll take. So you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay,
Game
I'll
Night.
go. We'll go a little out of order.
A little
here.
unconventional.
I know, right?
I like it. It's wacky.
Let's do it.
I can tell you throwing you for a loop.
We
Rob.
just got back from Game Night
7 minutes ago.
Yes. This is a movie that I had number 5 on my spring anticipated movies, 2018 release, obviously. IMDb already clocking it at 7.6, and Rotten Tomatoes critics are enjoying it.
Getting
80%.
bizarrely good reviews.
Not expected for this type of genre, like this genre comedy thriller.
Whodunit comedy.
Yeah, it's
sort of thing?
a little whodunit. It's kind of interesting. Stars Jason Bateman, Rachel McAdams, Kyle Chandler, Jesse Plemons, and then a really nice ensemble cast, which I don't have all their names pulled up, but written and directed by by the team of John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein. A group of friends who meet regularly for game nights find themselves trying to solve a murder. Is it an actual murder? Is it not? We don't know.
It's an assumed game. Mm-hmm. Right?
A very competitive Jason Bateman. His brother comes back into town and
Who's
just
played
wants
by
to,
the guy from Early Edition.
Kyle Chandler.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's on. I can't confirm or deny if he's on Early Edition, but he's from Friday Night Lights.
I will vouch for Carrie on this point.
Okay.
I am never wrong about Early Edition.
Not about Early Edition.
No.
I loved this movie. This is everything I want to go see. I think I was laughing out loud, cackling.
Oh, I thought that was a 12-year-old schoolgirl next to me. That was
you know what's different about this is like I knew it was. I had hopes that it would be as funny as it ended up being for me. What I did not expect was how thrilling it was. it was extremely thrilling for me. I remember grabbing Carrie throughout the movie and like kind of hiding my eyes and not knowing what was going to happen next. And
I am willing to bet solid money that is an overreaction to the amount of thrills that happens.
No, it is. It is.
No, it definitely is.
I'm curious, Carol, on your take, just to either support or contradict what I'm saying.
I was not hiding my eyes through any of the scenes of this movie, but I will agree that the humor in this was really, really good, mostly made up by Jason Bateman.
It's a Jason Bateman movie vehicle for sure. Like it lives and dies by him being
his humor.
His humor, and he if you like Jason Bateman's sense of humor, you're gonna love this movie.
Yeah,
it gives him room to just do what Jason Bateman.
His timing,
does.
his comedic timing.
If what I love is
great.
Rachel McAdams' sense of humor, how am I gonna feel?
No,
about
she's
pretty good in it too.
She does well
she's
in
pretty
it too.
good. The other one that did you know who's the gal from Catastrophe? Who's in this?
Oh, I didn't realize.
Look her up
that's
while
who
I
that
talk
was.
about
Yeah,
her.
You keep talking about
so
her.
there's this gal from Catastrophe that's in
I
there.
think you're using the word Gail. It's just like
A
we
gal.
don't talk about gals often enough.
We don't?
No, I think
Oh.
we call them women or ladies. But we don't call them gals.
Oh, yeah.
Stick with it.
Okay, so this gal.
The gal from Catastrophe.
She is hilarious in Catastrophe.
Sharon Horgan, who plays Sarah.
Yeah, she is. She's also, I think, one of the main focal points of humor, I think, for me in this
The
too.
whole ensemble, though, delivered, like, they played their characters.
They played their role.
Like, everybody had a very defined role, and they were delivering on their characters. So, yeah.
This isn't something I think you have to race necessarily to theaters to see, but it's a great date night movie.
Jesse Plemons as the
cop. Is that the cop?
odd neighbor. Yeah.
Who's also makes a debut in Black Mirror. We've seen him in there too. He's super funny and super weird. It's just it's the perfect cast. It's the perfect cast of people. And I think it's worth catching if you could. Is it a cinematic masterpiece? No, but definitely something that you laugh
if you come across this on Amazon for rent in the future or Netflix when it's streaming, you're going to feel like you found like a great movie. I think. But yeah, is it worth rushing out to theaters for? Not necessarily, but I'm glad that I saw it as early as I did. But I love this movie.
It was good.
It was really good.
Cool.
And then you guys have. I feel like you're gaming me here by putting Annihilation in my court. We've all seen Annihilation.
We've all seen Annihilation. I did eventually make a different bus.
You did? Okay.
I've seen Annihilation.
You've seen Annihilation. And so Annihilation is the newest one that's out by Alex Garland, written
film.
and directed. He did Ex Machina first, right?
Yep.
So this stars Natalie
Also,
Portman.
screenplays for films like Sunshine, 28 Days Later.
Oh, yeah,
he's
yeah.
a very, I think, accomplished screenwriter.
Yeah, and I loved Ex Machina, so I had high expectations for this one. Although I did what I do for a lot of movies like this, where I literally knew nothing. I didn't even watch a trailer going into this.
The trailers are, we can talk about this, the trailers are advertising a different movie.
I don't know.
And that is the movie that I went to go see and did not see.
No, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. I think it is the movie that you saw, but I don't think we all saw the movie we were supposed to see. Does that make sense?
Maybe.
No.
So let me tell you why. So this stars Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh's in this, Tessa Thompson, Oscar Isaac, who's also in Ex Machina.
Tuva Novotny, who is not an actress anyone's probably heard of, but I've been obsessed with her since she was in this.
Which one was she?
She's the weird blonde.
The weird blonde. Oh,
the first one who.
Yeah. Don't say.
No, but I
like
she was in
her.
this Danish movie called The War a few years ago, and
I liked her
I've been
too.
anxious for her to do more.
I
stuff
did
ever
look
since
her
then.
up afterwards to be like, who was that? I
like
really
her a
did
lot.
like
She had
her.
good presence.
So it tells the story of this biologist played by Natalie Portman, whose husband has gone off, and she basically is assumed he's gone off into some sort of secret mission and that he's come up dead. He's been gone for 12 months and he's been come up dead. And so she becomes a part of a mission herself, and she joins up with this pretty awesome women's mission group battalion to go off and go into this rainbow-like, bubble-looking like mist thing. The shimmer.
That is as good a description of it as I think we're going to come up with.
Yeah. And then they have to go in it and figure out what this thing is
and
that's
it's
inhabiting. It's expanding.
Like taking over stuff.
And so you don't know why, and you don't know anything about it, and it's the creepiness that comes from being inside this shimmer.
Yes.
Is the story. And so what I will say about this movie is, the movie that I walked away with, I was like, wow, this was like a terrible movie. Like this, nobody else, I'm going to tell you why. Here's my thing though. This is where I want to talk to you. I came out and I thought, how many plot holes were there? Like there were all these plot holes. There were all these things that didn't make sense. That didn't add up. This didn't add up. That didn't make sense. And I was like, in my mind, I immediately went to Tim and I'm like, either Tim's going to be like, I love this movie because it's so weird, or he's going to be like, oh, there's lots of holes and there's lots of weird things too.
Would you like to guess which of those two perspectives I have adopted?
You loved it.
I loved it.
I know why you did, though. So here's my question to you.
Great.
But here's my question to you, and this is something I want for listeners to hear. This, I did not know, is an art film.
It is.
And so,
an art film.
Is it better for a consumer, a movie consumer, to read at least about what the arty metaphor is?
Yes.
Before you go in. So that is my recommendation to listeners.
Well, the thing is, because they're advertising it as an Alien film. And if you go in and you're expecting Alien and you get an art film, you're going to be blindsided
90% of people still walk out of this movie feeling like it's an Alien film. 10% think, maybe there's a metaphor. 5% understand the metaphor.
I think the numbers, I think you're being a little ungenerous to the numbers, but I think you're right about the principle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's not as fun. If
and
I
I'll say
had
this
known
is-
the metaphor, I would have enjoyed it differently.
I could, and I think we need to hopefully have a little, maybe we can stick around for spoiler.
Okay, I
episode
wanna talk
afterwards, 'cause
about this
I
more.
want to talk, there's a lot to unpack regarding
Too
this
much to
particular,
unpack. And I just watched it like an hour ago, so I can't unpack it.
It's a lot. After watching it and then going on reading a little bit more about it, I felt more informed. Would I have enjoyed it more? Yes.
Yes, for
I don't
sure.
know if I would have liked it any. Well, I just said I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
I would have understood more.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have liked it
I would have
anymore.
liked it more. And here's my
I
next.
would let this movie come inside of me and make babies in my body.
I think
And
you've
this
said
movie
that for a lot of
proves
movies,
that
though.
it is possible for that to happen.
Yeah.
That's right. So gross. So that is so gross. But here's my other question to you. As a critic, as a film critic, let's say you went into this movie and you were like me and thought it was about aliens until you walked out and then you read about it and you're like, oh, damn, it wasn't really about aliens. It was about that. And that makes so much more sense and it closes all these holes. Do you rate it based on the way that you first perceived a movie, or once you read about a movie and understand it differently later, does it change your perception and would you change your rating
I mean,
of
certainly
a movie?
as a critic, my job is to figure out what's going on with the movie and to rate
What if you
that.
can't?
Well, then I say that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I mean, it's to deal with the movie that's in front of me, not the movie that I expected to be in front of me.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
it's
that's-
better if I think I had read
And that's
about
what
it before.
I feel bad because Alex Garland set out to make a particular type of movie, and he probably did it for some.
The movie Alex Garland wanted to make is the movie he made.
Exactly.
The movie Paramount wanted to advertise is not the movie Alex Garland made. And I think that's the crux of the problem.
True.
And I think, let's go into more of it because
More detail later.
More detail
I don't
later.
want to go into it, but I have so many
If I say
questions.
a little too cerebral for me.
To me, it was the exact amount right amount of street.
You would say
I liked
that.
it a lot.
But I don't think you know everything. I've read a lot about it now. I don't think you know everything. I'm going to rain some facts on you in the spoiler part
everything.
later today.
Well, Tim, I imagine you'll be possibly having some reviews for some, if not all, of these movies at some point in the future.
Some, if not all.
Okay. Well, remember, you can find more details about all the movies we watch at our website, alternateending.com. That's alternateending.com. Before we head to a break, you might be wondering about ways to support the show. If you want access to exclusive content, make us watch a movie, or pick your own episode topic, you can do it all from our Patreon page, just like Daniel Schuster, who is celebrating his 1-year anniversary. Happy anniversary, Daniel.
Happy anniversary.
Also, longtime friend of Alternate Ending, Andrew Milne, upgraded his pledge from our Critics' Choice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, to a Golden Globe package.
Nice.
It's going to give him control of the topic of our episode. Be gentle, Andrew. Be gentle.
Has he picked yet?
He has.
What is it?
Pick like our top 5 European art films from the 1960s.
I kind of want to keep it a secret a little bit.
I had a hard time with anti-heroes here.
I'll
Okay.
just say that Tim and I will be sad. I think we'll be happy with Andrew's selection, and Carrie, I'm
Great.
not so sure. It'll be
All right.
interesting to get your
All right.
feedback.
Okay.
Also, I was going to say that it's great that we now have a Tim review slot open thanks to Andrew's upgrade. He also rewarded others to be able to get the Critics' Choice, but someone snuck up and snagged the only remaining Critics' Choice award, and that was Salim Garami. So
Oh,
appreciate that,
good.
Salim. Thanks for grabbing the Critics' Choice. He's going to be selecting a movie for Tim to review.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Also want to thank all of our listeners who support the show and make their Amazon purchases through our site. Doing is easy. Just go to our website, alternateending.com, click on the Amazon banner, and seamlessly go about your
I
purchases.
just have to ask one question.
Please do.
Did anyone buy a oven thermometer and a Blu-ray of the movie Trolls?
You mean
Damn it!
You mean that
What do I
nine-
have to do to make my purchases go through our site?
I told you I'll show you later.
What did you do? Did you log
I
out?
used my parents' computer.
Holy crap. Are you going to the right website?
I maybe am not. Maybe I'm giving a lot of money to Blu-ray.com or something. I don't know.
We did have some kitchen and oh no, thermometer.
Hey,
Here it is. Stainless steel.
Stainless steel oven thermometer.
But you went with the
Does this go in
expensive one.
your butt? Is that why? No?
I mean,
Are you checking
98.6.
maybe it's in my butt right now.
Oh.
We also had some health and personal care, some crystal deodorant sticks, the 2-pack. I just bought some deodorant sticks too, not the crystal care, but I like Dove.
You have a good smelling one, yeah.
I like the clean smells.
I get weirded out by weird smells, so.
We also had
I
some,
use unscented.
You gotta have a little scent.
disagree.
What about Old Spice?
No,
Oh, that's very
really into
sensual.
Old
Old
Spice.
Spice
very
is like, I'm a 17-year-old who thinks that I will get a lot of sex if I smell like something.
And I think you would. Maybe that's your problem.
Maybe that's my problem.
Yeah.
We also had a 15-pound bag of Nishiki premium rice, medium grain. Imagine making some sushi.
Maybe.
With that.
Maybe.
Secret
Do
to
a lot of
that.
things with rice.
You do add a little sugar. Is that right?
I've never made sushi.
No? To the sushi rice?
You're the only
Add a
one
little
that's ever
sugar?
made sushi.
I have come up with a really cool new technique that I use to make white rice, though.
Okay.
Which is after you're done cooking it, you take it off the heat, but you put a plain white kitchen towel between the rice and the lid, and then you re-lid it for 15 minutes, and then all of that like steam absorbs into the towel, and it makes your rice even fluffier.
Oh, I'm going to have to give that a try.
That is something I
dropping
didn't
knowledge.
know about.
That
Yeah.
I'm the waves of judgment coming off of you right now, Carrie, are just like, you know what? It was good rice. It's the best rice that's ever made.
I definitely believe
right.
you.
We also had Hi-Fi Man RE400 in-ear headphones purchased, new iPad
Wow.
case, U-Maker heavy-duty kickstand shockproof case there. Also had we had 2 of those. Nice.
Double iPad.
Nice.
2 kids.
Some cables as well, some lightning cables. Appreciate that. A couple different lengths. You never know what particular length you'll need there.
That's what she said.
Also had an iPhone 7 case, slim hybrid dual, scratch resistant. Need to have that bumper
Yeah.
case. Some books purchased. The Birtle Project. As part of the 44 Scotland series.
No,
Anybody?
haven't-
No,
Nope.
Nothing?
Haven't
A
read it.
Time of Love and Tartan, also part of the 44 Scotland Street series.
No?
And speaking of art movies where I don't know what the hell's going on, someone on Amazon Instant Video purchased or rented Mother, which I would probably put in a similar category to a movie that I would have trouble understanding, like
That you should
metaphor.
pre-read the
Like
metaphor.
it would probably help by knowing a little bit.
I
about
have
it going
read
in.
many reviews of Mother, some scathing, some loving, and I'm still not 1,000% sure that no one agrees what it means. That's
Okay,
the problem with Mother.
so that a little too hard on the spectrum.
Maybe.
Also on Amazon Video, Austen Land.
Okay.
Is that Jane Austen?
It's like a Jane Austen version of Westworld is basically my understanding.
pretty cool. Also had
Except
2.
I don't think that they kill you.
Okay.
Except maybe by saying very sassy things in your direction and embarrassing you to death.
Also had 2 Amazon free channel purchases made. That goes quite a bit to helping us out. So thank you very much for all your purchases. When we get back, our top 5 anti-heroes. Welcome back to Alternating. We're talking about our top 5 anti-heroes. Care, I'm excited to hear what your take is on what makes an anti-hero, and also what makes it a top 5 anti-hero.
Oh, boy.
For you.
So you remember last week when my list was the best, like better than the rest of yours? Do you remember
No, I
that?
don't.
I think I remember The
remember
Little
that
Mermaid.
part.
You guys forgot about that one? And I and Perks of Being a Wallflower. Remember all that?
Well,
I
definitely I remember not forgetting about Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Remember all of I don't feel as awesome this week, but I'm going to give it a go. So here's how I picture an anti-hero. You can tell me if I'm wrong. You have to be a villain or really bad or unlawful or do things that are immoral, or you have to do those things as the person. But
As what person?
as the anti-hero.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then, but despite all of those actions, you find yourself rooting or loving that character. Okay. And then, yeah. So, but here's my other little tweak thing. Here's the thing. And here's what I tried to stick to. The person can't convert. They have to stay evil even though you love them. You can't convert to being a nice
Han Solo
person.
is not an anti-hero.
Right.
Because he starts out as a vagabond who shoots people, but he ends up lovable.
He ends up
But
lovable.
He's not an anti-hero.
You have
He's
to
a hero.
maintain your badness, and you can do something in it that makes it a redeeming quality. You have maybe a moral thing. You might do one moral little thing here and there, but you have to maintain that even after doing that one little moral thing, that you would go back to your bad guyness or galness.
Okay. Interesting.
And then to get you to the top, it was extra bad, got you to the top, blended with that I liked the movie.
Okay. So far, that's where we line up. is on that latter side.
So Tim,
how about you, Tim?
Yeah.
Well, I have an extremely similar definition, although I'd probably just twist the wording around a little bit. For me, it's someone that we root for. We want to see this person succeed. They are the protagonist. We like them, but they are doing things that we are objectively aware are bad. So like there's someone who we want to see end the movie successful and happy without ever losing sight of the fact that, no, this person's actually like a brute of some variety.
Right.
So I think similar. Yeah. Top 5 for me was more just a matter of intuition, and I did try to like get a little bit of historical interest in there. Tried to make sure. So one of the things that I think we all noticed, not too many anti-heroines, just a lot of boy heroes.
Yeah.
I maybe tried to grab a couple of ladies in there just to make the list a little more flavorful.
Yeah, none popped to mind for me on the female side. Yeah, I struggled. This is one of the hardest ones. I think even as of last night, Kara, I turned to you and said, I don't know how to define.
I was sleeping.
I don't know how
when
to
you were
define
talking to me.
this.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to define. I relied on the users. I relied on the audience,
You
the
always
friends
do
of
this.
alternate ending, not to come up with my list, but to help me define what an anti-hero is. Because we had some really good commenters here. We had yourself, who said it's definitely not just guys who do the right thing, but in a gruff and occasionally murderous way. Totally agree.
Okay.
And then Andrew Milne popped in with the literal definition is it's a protagonist. So I agree with you, Tim. Has to be the main character of the film, whose actions bring about a positive result, but has untraditional heroic qualities.
Sure.
So it's a combination of being self-interested, petty, uncharismatic, cruel, vulgar, or reluctant.
Yeah.
And really, the positive result is really unintentional. Almost, it's driving them towards what they're looking for.
Sure.
As a benefit, and it just happens to benefit morality or benefit the greater good.
I'm not sure that my definition needs to include that they have a positive net benefit.
Okay.
They don't have to have a negative benefit, but I don't know to me that's an irrelevant.
They have to have done something though that endears you to them, because like there is a reason that you're rooting for them. Sure.
And
it could be too.
And that goes to how I separated out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is I had to like them, so the charisma had to be there, but I also gave them extra points for being extra evil and yet still managing to do good somehow on accident or whatever, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
So that's what you should be looking for, and hold me to my list or hold me to my definition if you can, and feel free to
I think likable is so subjective though. Like I don't think anyone can really quibble.
Can't that
best looking guys will get you to the top.
Make sure they're.
If you try to pull a Han Solo on us, I'll be like, well, that man is a hero. He's not an anti-hero.
And I think what's confusing
perhaps
is
in the upcoming Solo: A Star Wars Tale.
If there's
story.
Tale. Oh gosh, the previews look so bad.
It looks bad.
So the lead actor looks bad.
We are not here to talk about how fucking bad Solo
looks bad.
Who's playing him?
Ehrenreich, who is wonderful in Hail Caesar.
Every one of his one-liners in the trailers look just like
they're so bad. But we can talk about how that movie's going to suck in May.
Yes, but one quick thing, not to be confused too, where you have a villain playing the protagonist role. I think that's where it gets confusing. Is where it can't just be a pure out. You're following a villain as the lead character throughout the movie.
What do you mean? I don't even know what that means.
I don't know.
That's exactly what this is.
I think that might make up your list.
I don't know.
I think there is a very narrow sense in which I agree with Rob here, although I think that
you got to be the bad guy. You're a bad guy, right?
Let's see how this plays out.
I don't know anymore. I struggled.
Like, I feel like Henry, Portrait of a Killer is a movie where the protagonist is a bad guy, but he's not an anti-hero because we don't want him to win.
Right.
Okay.
I'll pick one that wouldn't have made it, like Ray Kroc from The Founder, which is a true life story. Not an anti-hero, just a guy I really don't like. Who's the protagonist?
Oh, right.
Who's the main?
Yeah, he's the worst. Protagonist. No, but you have to like the person. You have to want them to win.
Yes, for me, it's having a positive. There needs to be a positive.
So this is
happens.
TV, but my perfect example of this is Dexter.
All right.
So he's a serial killer. He kills people, and yet you're like, don't catch Dexter. Like he's sawing people and dumping them in the ocean, and you're like, stay away.
Don't catch obvious criminal is like a major contributing factor to what makes me.
All right, who you got, Karen? Number 5.
Okay, I'm getting a little bit nervous here. Okay, don't judge me. Again, because of the win that I had last week. So I'm going to start with number 5. I know Rob's seen this one. Tim, I don't know if you have, but this is the 2012 The Place Beyond the Pines.
I have seen The Place Beyond the Pines.
Is it on your list?
No.
No. So this is written and directed by Derek Cianfrance, and it stars Ryan Gosling, Bradley Cooper, Eva Mendes is in this too. So the anti-hero in this is Luke, played by Ryan Gosling, and he's a motorcycle stunt rider who he goes off. He has a child with his ex-lover, Eva Mendes, and he comes back to find that he has a baby.
Real life wife too.
I know.
Yep.
So there's that. And then he goes off and he has no money, and he goes off, and so he's trying to figure out, he wants to support his family even though he's sort of estranged. And so he comes and starts robbing banks. And like, this story is like very upsetting because then Bradley Cooper comes after him, and you're rooting for Ryan Gosling. I mean, he's stealing from people, he's going in after people, taking money from the banks, but at the same time, you're still cheering for him. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but it's very upsetting, and you feel like he's the bad guy, and yet it was very upsetting what happened to the anti-hero in this movie for me. I was very upset by this.
I feel like that's an anti-hero.
I feel like I have no quibbles. I would say you've raised a question that I had in my head a little bit, which was if someone is doing bad and it causes them like moral anguish to know that they're doing bad, but in order to do the greater good, they'll do it anyway. And for me, the obvious case here would be Jean Valjean.
Robin Hood?
Like a Robin Hood, but I was thinking Jean Valjean in Les Miserables. Someone who is compelled into breaking the law because it is their last recourse.
But there's other ways in which he could have gone about getting money other than robbing banks.
Well, because I mean, I guess my thing would be like, for me, Jean Valjean, you cannot conceivably think of as an anti-hero.
Right.
But he that's sort of his backstory is the same thing as what
And part of it too is if an anti-hero is stronger to me if the person who's actually the good guy, so to speak, you begin to hate.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're the cop, Bradley Cooper, you're like, leave him alone. Like, get out of, like, step away. Like, you're rooting against the good guy, and that compels you.
No, I didn't think that you remember this movie. So that's
I did.
That's
and
a good choice.
And for people who want to see it, it's something that it doesn't just end there. It unfolds over a 15-year period of time. And so you see what actually happens and transpires over the life of his child. And it ends up being a really, like, I thought it was a good movie to catch.
Yeah, a little bit sins of the fathers.
Sins of fathers, indeed.
Kind of plot point there.
Exactly.
Which I really like. No, good pick, Care.
So that's my number 5. What's your number 5,
So
Tim?
my number 5 is going to be way out of character for me because ordinarily I'm the one who's like, well, I'll bet you guys have heard of this great movie from 1927.
We're going to hit the 2000s.
We are going to hit Last Year.
Whoa.
Like, I feel almost weirdly uncomfortable about having something so new, but I think it's going to hold up. So my number 5 anti-hero is the sexy, mysterious, super efficient killer spy Lorraine from Atomic Blonde, played by Charlize Theron. To go into exactly why she's an anti-hero would perhaps take us a little bit into spoiler territory. But let's just say that she is someone who is ruthlessly competent, and it's very, very easy to root for her for that reason. Charlize Theron is great in the role. But as the movie starts to resolve itself, it becomes increasingly clear everything she's done. And it's kind of clear throughout. Like, none of this is terribly surprising. At one point, she lets her girlfriend die for no good reason other than just to, like, sort of get the girlfriend out of the way. So she's not a nice person. We always know she's not a nice person. But it starts to become clear as the movie reaches its conclusion how extravagantly not nice she actually is. And even throughout all of that, I still found myself in the position of, like, really just being jazzed to be watching this person outwitting everybody else because she's so much cooler and better than they are.
This has made many of your lists. This
has made this list.
I think it's been on other things. I've heard you talk about her before.
Well, I mean, I like the movie.
I know, but what's her thing again? What's her end game though? Again, is she a stealer?
She's a spy.
Oh, she's a spy. Okay. So
but she's like she's a
heist.
A mean spy.
Okay.
She kills people.
You still need to see
you're still rooting for her.
It's a good movie.
You'd like this movie, I think.
I rooted the hell for her.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the situation where, like, she's kind of shady and bad, but everybody else is shadier and worse.
Right.
That kind of anti-hero situation.
So there's no good guy that you're rooting against.
There is no good guy.
Okay.
It's a movie in a moral universe full of bad guys.
Okay.
But
I need to see this.
I think it's going to stand out. I feel good about this pick. I feel it's going to stand out.
All right. But not on your list, Rob.
Not on my list. I went with one that's been repeated, I think, and I can't speak to prior use of this particular plot point, But movies like The Transporter have used this since, where there's a main character has a certain code to live by, and then something happens that gets in his way.
That happens a lot.
That does happen a lot. I don't know if it happened prior to 1994 with Leon the Professional.
It happened prior to cinema itself, but
You took my number one.
It's your number one.
Wow.
Oh, I'm so sorry with my number
Thanks,
5.
rude.
To be fair, it is the number 27 movie on IMDb of all time. Probably, maybe a little high, but I love this movie. Luc Besson directed. Jean Reno plays the aforementioned Leon. Gary Oldman. Everyone.
That wasn't that good that time.
Pretty good.
No.
And then Natalie Portman from Annihilation.
Matilda.
So she's coming full circle. Go ahead, Kara.
No, you go.
No. It's your number one.
I'll just jump in on why I like it.
Yeah, it. For me, it's the first time that I saw it, and the theme that carries through for all of mine is the reluctant person, the reluctant anti-hero. Reluctance gets you really far on my list. The more reluctant you are to participate because you have your own kind of thing going on. So Leon is a professional hit person who has a particular set of skills and also certain ethics. No women and no children. He's very, very clear about that.
I like that.
And he gets thrown into the mix trying to help out a young and first role for
Was
Natalie
it really?
Portman.
14 years old, if I'm
Oh
not
my
mistaken.
gosh.
It happens in the first act. Her family is murdered, and he has a choice to make. Do I get involved? Do I not? He chooses to get involved, and from there things snowball, and he has to continue to be involved and help kind of mentor her in what ends up being it could get really. It rides a thin line of it could get
pedophilia-ish.
Right, but
It doesn't
it's
cross
sweet.
that line,
to
though.
me, it ends up being sweet, and it could easily. And there are probably those who feel it crosses, but like I feel like it stays
I don't
sweet.
think it does. I think the whole point is that it keeps making you wonder if it's going to, and it never does.
And it just never does. And he is, and it rides on Jean Reno to deliver that performance of he's a hitman, but with the soft, sweet side, and he shows it to her, but he's still a ruthless assassin at the top of his game.
And she wants him to teach her his particular set of skills, which makes it kind of another added bonus.
Right? She hires like a rain check, or like she gives him a little bit of money, or I don't remember the amount, or if it's like an
But he
IOU.
plays into her needing to grieve, like she's lost her parents and her brother, and he's playing into like the sweetness of like helping her grieve through feeling like she's got control of something, which is learning how to like fight back and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I thought it was a really sweet movie.
And it didn't go higher because he is so sweet, and that kind of hurt him.
He's still an assassin.
He's still an assassin.
And he's not
but-
going to stop being an assassin just because of her. That's
Fair
why
enough.
this made the very top of my list, because
that.
he will continue on doing this. While he has a sweet spot for her, he's going to keep doing his gig after she's
I
gone.
will say, for me, the gut reaction to hearing both of you name this film was like, but he's not an anti-hero, he's just a hero. But I mean, I take your point is well taken.
You mean the whole like murdering lots of other people
But
thing?
they're bad people
How do you know?
because I like him.
I know.
And he wouldn't kill good people.
Exactly.
All right, Karen,
Good pick.
number 4 for you. Sorry, I took
That's
your.
all right.
I took your
It
one.
stings
It
a
happens.
little bit,
It happens.
but
Maybe you're going to take his number 1.
I don't think so. But my number 4 probably. Did you do any animation?
I did not do any
Did
animation.
you?
No.
So this isn't on either of your lists, but I don't know how neither of you guys could pick the biggest supervillain who ever lived, best supervillain who would go to any lengths to shrink the moon. Gru?
Oh, sure.
Gru,
okay.
people
Nope.
Gru.
100% Despicable Me.
Yeah,
Despicable
no,
Me, Gru.
anti-hero.
100% counts as an anti-hero.
Yeah,
Yes.
reluctant. Absolutely reluctant.
yes.
To do good. Yes.
Yes.
For sure.
I just don't like the movie.
I mean, I didn't say that I like the movie, but he's an absolute anti-hero.
He totally is.
How much of this is because Abby does a really awesome, our 6-year-old daughter's awesome.
Oh,
Gru
she's so
impersonation.
good at it.
Yeah.
She'll be like, what does she do with it's about the brother, right?
it's the brother.
She'll say, what is it?
I don't remember.
There's a quote about it. She'll be like,
I'm
something
so
about
happy that you pay that much attention to your daughter.
something to be my brother. And she does a really good Gru accent.
So better than yours.
I would say that that's a safe bet.
right.
So
Let's
this
go
is
wake her up and find out. I'm
Let's
curious.
go. She's probably up there right now, awake. So it's directed by Pierre Is it Coffin? Coffin?
In
Coffin
my
feels like a
head,
weird last
I was
name.
just like Pierre Coffin, but no, he's French, so it probably is Coffin.
Coffin. And Chris Renaud and
know.
exactly. And it's written by Cinco Paul.
Maybe.
These are such weird names.
They're French.
I've been on like a really
It's a French-ass movie.
Sergio Pablos. So this stars Steve Carell as Gru, who is just just priceless. Jason Segel's in this too as Vector. Russell Brand is in this. Julie Andrews. So this is a story of Gru, who's a supervillain to the max, wants to go out and be the best supervillain of all time that ever existed. So he's challenged by another supervillain who goes out and then steals like a pyramid, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, he steals a pyramid. And then Gru's like, oh, I got to step this up a notch. I got to go out there and I'm going to shrink and steal the moon. And then things change when Gru encounters 3 young orphan sweet little girls who he decides are pawns in his plan. Like he could use them in order to steal the moon. But then he develops a soft spot for the 3 little girls.
So what I'm seeing is the unifying theme of Carrie's list is orphans.
I mean, but he's still evil, you know? At the end of the day, he's still going to take that moon. But he loves these 3 little girls who are so cute and sweet, you know? And that
I get it.
That's what makes him a super evil, super villain, anti-hero, because he's a hero to these 3 little girls and to the minions.
No,
the minions love him.
I am by no means questioning whether or not he's an effective anti-hero. It's not
but you're just noticing my theme.
I'm noticing your theme. I also just don't like the movie.
I didn't say I had to love these movies.
No,
I'm just trying to pick the best.
It's the characters.
That's true.
Yeah, it is.
Best anti-heroes.
I'll say that. He changes a little too much for me. Just changes.
Oh, but he's still out with a goal in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my number 3.
No, but so far you're nailing
4.
the anti-heroes.
That was my number 4.
4.
That's number 4.
Tim, to you.
So my number 4. I feel like this is a pretty. Like when you think of movie anti-heroes, I think a lot of people are going to think of this. I'd be shocked if our readers haven't.
It's my number 3.
It could be. It could easily be on either one of your lists. This is the character of Snake Pliskin, played by Kurt Russell in the 1981 Escape from New York.
No.
Nothing.
No, I 100% agree. Anti-hero, and
what does he do?
Haven't seen enough. Seen it enough times to really have it sink in.
Oh man, it's a good movie. So this is a movie about in the future, the unbelievable, far-flung future of 1997.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sure.
if you can think of such a faraway time.
Yeah.
The island of Manhattan has become a maximum security prison to deal with all the crime happening in the United States. They just dump all the prisoners on Manhattan. And the president's plane goes down on Manhattan. So they have 24 hours to get the president out, and the only way they can do this without the president getting killed is they need to hire the baddest convict motherfucker they can find, and that is Snake Pliskin, who ends up going to New York, then has to escape from New York. But yeah, so it's just a guy who is sort of designed to be a completely unredeemable criminal, doesn't give a shit about anything. Like that's kind of his entire thing throughout the film is he just doesn't care. If the president lives, the president dies.
Who was the president at the time?
Some Yahoo. I don't know.
Who was it in 97? Who was the president?
Oh, at the time in 97 it was Bill Clinton. But it is not.
It's not. They don't drop Bill in there.
Well, the movie was made in 1981.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so it's just like about, Snake has no moral code to speak of. He's just like, he's in it for himself first and foremost. That never changes across the entire
What's his
film.
end game though? What does he get out of it?
A pardon.
Pardon. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he just doesn't care about anything but himself. That does not change at any point. And Kurt Russell in this role is one of the absolute no holds barred best charismatic badasses ever. Like,
so you're rooting for him the whole time.
You're rooting for him so hard.
You know what's so weird? I pictured an eye patch.
He's got an eye patch. How could he not have an eye patch?
Yeah.
It's Kurt Russell playing a guy named Snake. He's got to have an eye patch.
Oh, for sure.
Have you
seen this, Rob?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, no, it's definitely an anti-hero. It's just
Didn't make your list?
I can't. I could not bring me to. I couldn't remember him vividly.
What was the thing that you loved about him?
Just, well, like I said, for me, charisma was a huge cut.
Okay.
Yeah, and Kurt Russell's got it.
He's got
and the director's meaning for you to love him. They want you to. Okay.
Yeah, no, John Carpenter film. Clearly, if we're going to root for anybody, there's no one else to root for.
Okay.
Really. Like, he is clearly the one who's like, he's our guide through the city.
You want him to win.
We want him to win. Increasingly, we don't care about the government or the president either because fuck them. They allowed this hell sack word to happen.
Maybe they should do a redo of it.
They did. It was bad.
They kind of did.
Oh, did
Escape
they?
from L.A.
Oh.
It's not good.
It's not good. Okay. Well, good to know. But catch this one. Catch the first
this one.
Okay.
Catch it so
Escape
hard.
to which mountain?
Escape from New York.
Escape from New York. Got it.
Yeah, it's funny as you were describing it. Triple X came to mind for some reason.
You son of a bitch.
But would be an anti-hero.
Sure. Sure.
Sorry. I'm going to stick in the 90s. In fact, a lot of my movies take place in the 90s. Must have been a good anti-hero kind of decade.
It was.
Yeah. This is from a director who was hit or miss, starring a very charismatic. I think that's the thing, is the actor has to be charismatic is what we're finding. Starred Michael Douglas, 1993's Falling Down.
Okay.
Anti-hero for you, Tim?
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I haven't
my
either.
Gosh.
No.
Oh, wow.
I've seen Fallen.
An unemployed defense worker, Michael Douglas, frustrated with the various flaws he sees in society. A little Melanie Linsky-esque from
I Don't Feel at Home in This World
Don't Feel at Home in This World anymore. Just begins to psychologically break down and violently lash out at everything. Right. He's kind of the world's been against him. He's kind of been going with it for a long time. Divorced, single father. I think he lost his job that day. Sitting in LA traffic in the summer, finally just has enough, and he just starts going and trying to right wrongs.
So he's Batman. It's like the Michael Douglas's Batman movie.
A little bit Batman, but he goes about it in he buys like a bunch of ammunition and just starts trying to he just starts lashing out. Yes. Does he kill people? I don't remember. Can't remember.
Doesn't feel like he's that bad of a guy.
No, he's pretty bad. Yeah,
if he doesn't actually kill anyone.
He's taken into the law in his own hands.
Okay.
Over little things, much like the Melanie Linsky character.
I didn't get enough change at the grocery store.
Things like that. Things that where he's just mad. He's just mad. He's just trying to finally get everything right.
I will say I haven't seen this film, but I feel like Michael Douglas as an anti-hero is always true. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's an extinct. Maybe in Ant-Man he's not. Maybe in
American President.
That's true.
Well, that depends on your feelings about the American presidency.
That's true.
I mean, you could say that they're all anti-heroes.
Political
in
leanings.
that particular movie.
Romancing the Stone, probably not. He's more good.
Been in? He's been in things.
But I feel like he sort of exudes anti-hero as his native state.
Sure.
He's a slimy son of a bitch.
Yeah, he kind of feels that way. And yet he nailed Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Also, maybe feels like she could be a pretty good anti-hero just by sort of existing in the world in a lot of ways.
Also, Robert Duvall plays kind of the... he's the cop in this. I think he's in his last case, trying to get this thing figured out and closed. But William defends Foster, which Michael Douglas played. Loved him as an anti-hero. I was rooting for him.
Title again.
Falling Down.
Who's the writer-director of this film?
Director Joel Schumacher. Don't have the writer.
Well, you had sold me real well, and then
I know,
you
but
named the director, and then you unsold me in a
I
heartbeat.
said hit or miss. I mean, Joel's got some.
One hit and 78 misses does not mean hit or miss.
What's your hit on?
My hit is The Lost Boys.
Okay.
Oh, I've seen that.
Also, a director who just unremarkably no consistent style between movies. I could say, that's a Schumacher. Other than nipples on Batman, is that right?
Well, he doesn't have a nipple on Batman.
Is that not the
every single film? Well, the two Batman films he made both have nipples.
Okay,
but there's no nipples on Batman in his Phantom of the Opera, for example.
No nipples there.
So how do you decide whether or not to put nipples on them?
I mean,
it's a director's choice.
It's a director's choice.
I see. Or is that a costume design thing?
I feel like no one does that if their boss isn't enforcing that they must.
That they have to.
Because it's a bad choice.
I feel like if I was going to make a movie, I would definitely put nipples on.
You're pro nipple on that.
I'm pro nipple. What would you do?
Well, the thing is, I feel like the idea here was to do a sexualized Batman as kind of a perfect male body thing, but it doesn't play right. It goes horribly awry.
Right.
That was the goal.
So you're saying you're anti-nipple?
I'm anti Joel Schumacher, whatever he does, and maybe if Chris Nolan had given us crotch shots of Batman, I would have been this tells me about how Batman carries his power in his phallus. Right. Whereas in Joel Schumacher, it's just oh, fuck off. Don't even give me that fucking Batcod piece.
Much like what's going on right now with the dick on Wasp's suit, which is making the Twitter run right now.
What?
I've missed this. I've seen the trailer, but I did not.
This
very
again?
Clearly has a penis on her on her suit. The Wasp. So it's Ant-Man's
Ant-Man's
love
top,
interest.
apparently.
Yeah.
So Ant-Man goes at it with a wasp?
Wasp is the
what's
Evangeline.
Evangeline
Lilly.
can't even be a real thing.
Oh yeah, check out the pictures.
So wait, but it's a lady, but she has a
on
member?
her suit.
I'm fairly confident there will be a joke to that effect, given how self-aware the Ant-Man film
Clearly,
is.
there's no way they would have missed that she has a penis on her
I don't
suit.
believe you.
We'll show pictures. We'll have to check
I'm looking this up immediately following the show.
In the meantime, number three to you.
Number 3 to me is one that I didn't particularly like this movie, but honestly, this is the epitome of what this category is. So I had to include it because I also saw this movie. And it could be on some of your lists, even though it's a terrible movie. It's the 2016 The Suicide Squad. Right?
I'll agree with you that it's the epitome.
It's
of
the
what
epitome. This is exactly what it is.
But I had to. Well, no, because I have to root for them to live, and I don't. In that movie, I just want them all to die really quick. So the movie
is your
ends.
top 5 anti-hero the group, or is it?
It's the group. So you've got Deadshot, who's played by Will Smith. You're rooting for you never want Will Smith to die in your entire life.
The more films he makes, the more I think I want Will Smith.
You don't believe that. You don't believe what you're saying. So
Subright.
Okay. So Jared Leto's in this too, playing the Joker. Margot Robbie's in this as Harley Quinn. Viola Davis is in this, only she's like she's the boss lady.
She's the anti-hero. I'm rooting for Viola Davis.
You're right. We all should be. She's plays Amanda Waller. So everybody knows the story of this, but this is written and directed by David Ayer. And
Ayer, I think, but yeah.
That's what I said.
You said Ayer.
I didn't. I said Ayer. Right?
Davey
A. Also, so after the death of Superman, which if you haven't seen that movie, that's a bit of a spoiler, but the leader of the secret government agency employs the help of the most dangerous, worst, evil, most terrible, awful, possible people on the planet to come out.
Trump administration.
That's right. It includes, actually, that's Jared Leto, plays Donald Trump.
Honestly, you got something there.
That's right. And so that's the one that you're like, you could just die. But anyway, the rest of them, you actually want them to win. And so they go out and she says, hey, we're going to reduce your sentence they all are serving life because they're terrible people. We're going to reduce your sentence if you're able to go out and stop this supernatural entity that's going to ruin the world. And so these are terrible, terrible people. Terrible. Out for their own good to go out. But yet at the end of the day, they embody, if they succeed, they get this reduced sentence. They embody, you're rooting for them to stop this supernatural entity.
So kind of like Snake Pliskin in a bad movie where you don't like them.
It is the same.
Yeah.
It's the same setup.
Right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Same setup as
down to the
Escape
fact that
Room.
I believe it is the city of Manhattan.
Yeah.
It is, I think.
It looks like
is
Manhattan.
it?
I don't know.
It looks like it.
Could be Gotham. I don't know.
But again,
Who
you're
gives a
not.
shit? Suicide Squad.
You don't think you're expecting to root. Deadshot is a character who you actually kind of root for because you know some of his backstory too. For some of the characters where you know why they're terrible.
So it's a
you
mix
can
of
empathize a little
Snake
bit.
Plissken with Leon a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, because he's
You know
doing
the
it with his
backstory.
kiddo.
Big sack full of dead fish.
That's it. Yeah. This one though is the epitome of this category.
No, it is. You're
And
right on.
It's not a great movie. I would never recommend people to run out and go see it. But if I had to pick an anti-hero, this is a group of them.
It's several. It's many anti-heroes.
Many
for your
anti-heroes.
anti-hero dollar.
Minus Jared Leto. But
Just an anti.
it was an anti. So that makes my number 3. Is that your number 3 already? Then Tim?
It is my number 3, isn't it? So my number 3, I feel like I'm back on brand here. This is a movie made before any of us were born. Mm-hmm. This is the biggest film in history in a lot of ways. 1939's Gone with the Wind, which centers on, as its protagonist,
I don't get it.
Scarlett O'Hara.
No, I know, but I don't get why she's an anti-hero.
Because every single choice she makes over the course of a 4-hour movie is wicked. And knowingly wicked.
My
And
grandma loves this movie.
I want her to win. I want her to fuck Ashley. I want her to just then I don't want her to
Ashley's
fuck
the man,
Ashley,
right?
Because Ashley's not good enough for her. Because Ashley's he's named Ashley. It's a fucking girl's name.
That can be a boy's name too.
Well, it can.
It's
'cause it
Lindsay
is.
or
but
Aaron.
so she cheats, she lies, she has affairs. She doesn't do anything nice. In 4 hours, it's a lot of movie. And the entire movie, every choice she makes is driven by raw animal selfishness. And for every beat of it, I want her to fuck up everybody.
Why do you want to win? Why do you want her to win?
Because she's awesome.
Is it just because she's pretty?
No, well, she is, but it's because she's facing down a world that is just rotten. It's the genteel South that has no moral center at all, and I don't know if the movie knows that, but it doesn't. And she's surrounded by idiots, and because she's a woman in this very specific cultural milieu, she has no ability to get things without having that killer instinct. So she has to develop that killer instinct. So it's that basically. It's she's tearing a righteous path through a society that has no like release valve for people like her to actually succeed.
How does Rhett play into this?
He's sexy,
but is he
he's good.
He's good.
He's good.
Does he know she's bad?
He is turned on by it.
Oh, okay.
So
I identify with Rhett in this movie.
and all this evilness, and I sadly have not seen this movie.
Oh,
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I have either.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're a casual moviegoer.
Yeah.
You're
I
at
know.
least quasi
It is
supposed
my
to know what you're talking
grandma's
about, Robert.
favorite movie of all time.
Then think of your grandma. Your grandma's going to be so sad when
I
she's
know.
like listening to this podcast and she's like, that's right, that Tim fellow knows
I
exactly
know.
what's up.
And
And
she's
then
going to
her
heard the things that you said
granddaughter-
earlier that were really crude, and she's going to be like, what kind of friends do you have?
Is it
Yeah.
is it possible to share this without spoiling it? Does all this evilness turn into a positive result? Like
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, then it
No.
would not. She would not. She would not have qualified for my list then, because it needs to turn positive.
Why?
Oh, I don't think
There's
that's
the
true.
hero part of the anti.
The hero is that I want her to win.
Yeah, okay, so that was your-
I want Ashley Wilkes to be a crumpled remnant of humanity and she doesn't towards the end realize. Excuse me. She has one scene near the end where she sort of comes to the realization, oh, I've probably been making some choices that were pretty harmful, and I should make this other choice instead. But I mean, the bulk of the movie is just her like marrying so she can get her hands on like a flour mill and shooting Yankees and shooting Confederates and like all kinds of shit. And she's great. It's a great movie. And like Vivien Leigh's performance, one of the all-time great screen performances.
We gotta
Just
catch this
full
guy.
I've
stop.
seen parts of it, I think. I think I dozed in and out.
I need to lend you guys this movie. Tell me when you have 4 hours to spare.
It is 4
So when your
hours
children
long.
have gone to college.
That's right.
Let's sit down. We'll have a go.
I think we should all go watch it with my grandma. I think she would like
we
that.
should.
Fly down to
Okay.
Georgia.
I
No,
think-
it's
I
not
think-
that grandma. It's the northern one.
I think that
She's
your
only in-
grandma would find it very cute when I say, "Yeah, Scarlett, fuck him up." Like,
yeah,
over
she
and over
would.
For 4
She's
hours.
really into that.
I think she'd like that.
Yeah, she's not. She's not
grandma.
a tame kind of grandma. You
Nice.
know. So, what is your?
Not quite that old. This
Number
is the
2.
earliest one on my list. I have 1992 as the earliest one on my list. Focuses on a self-centered gentleman. I think the third installment of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead series. Yeah, Bruce Campbell starring as Ash from the Army of Darkness. Shop smart, Care. Shop S smart.
F smart?
No,
S smart.
S, because S for smart.
S for smart?
Never mind. You need to see the movie.
Okay. All right.
Ash has found
Name's
himself.
Ash. Housewares.
Housewares. Yeah,
See, that's a quote.
They've
Whenever
made
you
it into
say
a
Ash,
TV.
I think of aliens now.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's what you should think that.
Yeah.
Also, you should think Army of Darkness and Evil Dead
And Evil Dead 2.
and Evil Dead 2, and now
You know
the
what?
TV
Is it
series.
bad branding? Is Evil Dead bad branding for the movie? Because I feel like I would. That sounds terrible, but I've heard people talk about this movie as being good.
It is
Like
good.
Evil Dead.
What are they supposed to call it?
What's it about?
The-
Tell me what it's about, and then
about
I'll give
the
it a better
dead
title.
Who are evil.
Oh, it is about dead evil people.
Well, this is the third
Evil
installment.
Dead people,
So
I'd
there's
say.
a lot that has transpired.
Okay.
But
So much that has transpired.
the self-interest piece gets fully realized.
It's the
in
only
Army
one of the three
Darkness.
where you can reasonably call him an anti-hero, I would say.
Yes, yeah, because
Who
he's
plays
kind
the
of
anti-hero?
alone for
Bruce
the most
Campbell.
part. Bruce Campbell.
Oh, that's a person. Okay.
It is a person.
All right.
He plays Ash.
So he is.
I'm gonna Google him.
After a while,
know
a
him.
couple
He's got a
installments
chin.
where there's evil's been following him. He's been battling evil. He is now in the Army of Darkness, accidentally transported to 1300 AD, where he reluctantly must battle an army of the dead to retrieve the Necronomicon, so that he can return home. That's all he really cares about.
Oh,
Just wants
Bruce
to
Campbell.
Just wants to go home, and saving the people that are trying to help him out. Doesn't really care too much about that.
He sure does not.
No, he just wants to go home. It's a little bit of a Wizard of Oz.
It's like the Wizard of Oz if Dorothy spent all of her time insulting every person she met.
A lot of great one-liners in this care, which I will not go into, but if you were to watch it, I think you would adopt them as well. Bruce Campbell, love him.
I
Love
know
him
him
as
from
Ash.
some sort of Western.
Maybe.
Well, he was on Briscoe County Jr. if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's what it is.
Okay.
That's what it is. That's where I know him
He's
from.
also got great mutton. He can have great sideburns. He has good
He's
sideburns.
good. He's
He has
just
good hair.
good at everything.
Yes.
More Bruce Campbell.
I have nothing more to say other than I really like him. His
Absolutely.
self-interest, and that's
He's
what drives
he's a
him.
greedy bastard who gets bit in the ass as a result of it. Depending,
so this meets
depending
your
on which cut
criteria.
of the film you've watched.
Does this meet your
Oh, I didn't know
criteria,
there were
though?
multiple
I think it does.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it totally meets my criteria.
Okay.
He does good by accident because it furthers his own self-interest, and by furthering his own self-interest, there's an overlapping Venn diagram where also the greater good benefits. But only in those circumstances does he take action. He's not doing it for the right reasons. So
Nope, I like it.
and he's
I think it
hilarious.
fits.
He's
funny.
So
I'll
funny.
ever see it. I don't think I will.
Oh,
There's a Patreon out there, I'm sure, who will happily
Please don't.
grant you
Please
that
don't
prize.
sign up for
I might
that.
have to go for the full Patreon so I can first make you guys see the other thing I was talking about, and then have our episode topic be a spoiler alert for our
Don't do
darkness.
it. Become the $1 Patreon.
So Kara, all you have left is your number 2?
Two,
Should we save
yeah.
that and go, Tim and I go
Sure.
number 2 then, and then we'll round out with our final
Sure.
ones? All
On
right.
the air?
On the air.
That sounds really gross.
I did just see the Emoji Movie, so a lot of number 2 jokes.
Hey.
You would have been a perfect writer for that film.
God,
So
that
you're
movie's
going
bad.
to your number 2.
So my number 2 is sort of, I think in my head, the fount from which all anti-heroism in cinema springs. This is a 1931 gangster film, and I think gangster films in general are like where you
Prime,
go.
yeah.
So I only had one. I only had one on purpose because it would have been totally easy to just do 5 gangsters. But I went with kind of the gangster. I went, in fact, with The Public Enemy is the name of the film. The character is Tom Powers, played by James Cagney in his star-making role. You know, he's a kid from the streets, gets in with the mob, rises to power. This whole time we're like, yep, he's a cool guy. I like him. I'm rooting for him. Want him to succeed. Even as he's killing people, he's stealing, he's robbing, he's like abusing his girlfriend by shoving grapefruit into her face, and very, very famous scene. And yet Cagney himself is so magnetic in this film that no matter how bad Tom gets, you like him. You want to see him succeed. And this, in fact, caused like a major public crisis when this movie, and then immediately after this movie, Scarface, starring Paul Mooney, came out. There was this thing where the audience was like really rooting for these horrible people because they were so cool. And so like it led to this major like overhaul in, well, what can we depict in movies? Can we actually depict these sympathetic portraits of gangsters? And the solution ultimately became no, we should probably not do that. But for that beautiful window of a few years in the early 30s, so many great gangsters who were just like real shits, violent, nasty, unredeemed characters, but because of the star wattage of the people playing them are just really easy to like and super easy to root for. And for me, Cagney is one of the most charismatic actors who ever lived. So this was an easy
pick.
choice for me out of that population of films. Like it had to be The Public Enemy.
Was it like slices of grapefruit or like the whole
It was
grapefruit?
a half of a grapefruit.
Okay.
He picks it up and he mashes her face in it.
Okay. And that was like to her displeasure. That wasn't like
It
a
was
thing
not
she
a
was
sex
into.
thing.
No. Okay.
No, it was, I mean, maybe it was, but,
You never
but
know.
it didn't start
Didn't
out.
play out that way. Okay.
This will help me clarify, Tim, if you and I have diverged on our definition. So it's not on my list. I'll go ahead and say that. Hopefully it's not on any of yours. But Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, anti-hero,
Just a villain.
just a villain.
Yeah,
it sounds like you're
he's
describing
on a lot
villains
of
to me.
lists. So what would have made him an anti-hero?
Had he, for me, it would have something he did had to have had a positive.
No, I'm
result.
saying what did he do? I don't know. I haven't
Just
seen the movie.
Was a psychopath
And he killed people.
sociopath, Yeah,
Yeah, but so
But
what did he do?
he's not
that was-
appealing.
you weren't rooting for him a little
No.
bit? That's kind of maybe.
Well, I mean, for me, it's the reason I had a Clockwork Orange on my list forever
Sure.
and ever and ever, and
Sure.
I finally took it off on the grounds that, well, I mean, it makes me feel really bad when Alex succeeds, so I
Yeah.
can't call him an anti-hero because I'm
Fair-
not rooting
okay.
for him.
Right.
He's charismatic and he's interesting as a character, but he's also terrifying.
Okay.
And that's what I need. I need to be like
Enamored by the
like these
character.
people. I'm
Yeah.
in love with these characters. Enamored is
Yes.
a great word for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right.
I agree with that.
That's we're closer than I thought. Okay.
But they don't have to do anything good. They just have to be like appealing.
And so that's where
I think I still need to see American Psycho because I remember Rob and I watched that together and I fell asleep and he's like, "How do you fall asleep in American Psycho?" And I was like,
that takes some doing.
Yeah.
It does take
It's
some
very
doing.
vanilla for Carrie.
I'm one of those people that
Pretty
like to have
basic.
goals though, and I pushed myself, and in that case, I did. I forced myself into sleep, but I should watch it.
Well, as we move down my list to my number 2, we get more and more self-interest,
Okay.
potentially evil as we
Okay.
get to my as we get
Evil
to my
Dead
number
2?
1. No.
Okay.
This is the most self-interested person probably on my list who will, and also you mentioned charisma, most charismatic on my list. Haven't liked the subsequent films that this character's been portrayed in, and there have been quite a few.
Okay.
I'm talking about Jack Sparrow. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. When I first saw Jack
I
Sparrow,
thought he was just a good guy.
He's not, though.
he's
No?
absolutely not.
He's so
He's so
unbelievably
sweet.
charismatic that I almost
Yeah.
think it like elides how he, in fact, everything he does in that first movie is bad.
Yeah, and they catch him. The good guys actually catch him where they think he's on his side, but he's only on one side, and that is his own. And if you're not helping further his own interests,
he wants some gold, right?
No, he wants to.
He wants to get his ship.
He wants a ship,
so he can go be a pirate.
He wants to just go be a pirate.
I mean, that doesn't feel like a wrong.
Actually,
decision.
now that you've called it to my attention, I feel like the pirate genre writ large is all about anti-heroes, which I hadn't really thought about.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'd say if you're in pirates in general, yeah,
you're never rooting for Captain Hook, though.
Peter Pan's a dick.
No,
Peter Pan's a little bit of a dick.
You can never speak of Robin Williams that way ever again.
Disney Peter Pan.
Oh, I'm talking about Hook.
I'm talking about the animated Peter Pan.
Okay.
I kind of root for Hook.
Interesting.
Needs to teach that snotty little Bobby Driscoll something.
So go on to your movie.
No, it's I think most people have seen this movie, but he's in it for himself, and he doesn't try to hide he tries to hide it because if it's furthering his self-interest, but yeah, good happens on his watch, but just really more by accident, and because he's somehow has to fulfill that in order to get his end result,
right? Which
he doesn't shy away from.
And I'm going to point out, you say you don't like the direction the character went in the sequels. It's because he becomes more of an explicit hero.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I
particularly in the fourth one.
I lost interest. I haven't even gotten to the fourth one, but
it's bad.
I'll stick with the first one, and I enjoy his the Keith Richards and whatever Johnny Depp is doing. He nailed it.
He looked to Keith Richards as the influence for how he played the part,
and it worked for me.
100%. I like it. Out of the box thinking a little bit, but I liked it.
Thank you. All right,
this is my last.
Number two. Because I stole your number one, which was Leon the Professional.
I know, kind of rude. I was really excited because I thought everyone would forget about that one, and that was a good one. But
I forgot about it.
I know. Did you like that movie though?
I did. I haven't seen it in like 15 years.
That was good. It was good. So I'll go with my number two, which is one I am 100% sure that both of you have seen it, and 100% sure that you guys should have on your list. Is the 2016 going kind of recent? Toby and Tanner are the anti-heroes of this movie.
Toby and
Tanner. Taylor Sheridan, David Mackenzie. Hell or High
Water. Sure. Yeah.
So it stars Chris Pine. Ben Foster is the anti-hero. He's the bigger anti-hero. Then you have like a mini anti-hero played by Chris Pine. So it's like a double situation. Then Jeff Bridges is in this too, who you're like, he's the supposed good guy, but you're also like, back off, Jeff Bridges. I don't even like your face. And then Gil Birmingham.
I like his face.
No, I don't like it. When I say I don't like your face, it's not like your actual face. Okay. It's like, get away, I don't like your face, meaning I don't like you.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Because he's got a good face.
He has a good face.
It's all craggy.
Good picks, Kara.
So it's set in West Texas, and these two brothers, played by Chris Pine and Ben Foster, own this ranch. And their mother, unfortunately, passes away, and in order to keep the ranch going, they try conventional ways of doing it, but the bank are assholes, and they are like, no, we're not going to help you. And so they go out, and the only way that they can think of to keep the ranch going is to go out and start robbing banks. And so they go out and they start doing this successfully. They're really good at it. And the one that plays Ben Foster is the one that I think is more the anti-hero in this.
I would agree.
And he is the one that's really in it for himself, in it for the money, wants more. Like, I think at the end of the day, if they had enough money to keep the ranch going, he would have kept going. Like, let's just get more and more.
He would have still been a criminal. Yeah, he would have had a life of crime.
Chris Pine was more of like, let's just do what we have to do in order to keep this going. This movie was such a great, great movie. They go up against two Texas Rangers too, and it becomes kind of a cat and mouse game with Jeff Bridges and Gil Birmingham. And at the end of the day, again, you're completely 100% rooting for the villains in this. And, it doesn't help that Jeff Bridges is sort of played by this racist, unlovable guy to a certain extent too.
Well, it's playing. Because I think if you say he's played by a racist guy, you're saying that Jeff Bridges
sorry. He's playing he's playing a racist, unlovable guy too. And yet so they're definitely bringing you into caring about the two bank robbers in this scenario. And you're hooked on them. You want them to win.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, it's a good
100%.
pick.
Not on your
Good
list?
No, it should have. Yeah. Should have
This is a
considered
movie that
I
if
didn't
people have
enter my
missed
mind.
2016, if you've missed, I still
Picture
recommend
nominee.
this. Yeah, it was. What got it that year? It was Moonlight. Moonlight, yeah.
It was never going to be this.
I know. But still, this is a movie that if you loved movies like Sicario or you love movies like those kind of like Western.
So if you love my movies, because that's my favorite
If
movie.
you love
of the day.
movies written by Ty Sheridan, Taylor Sheridan,
Taylor Sheridan,
not Ty
yeah.
Sheridan, who's like 15.
He is. But
maybe he'll be
his
a good
older
writer
brother,
someday.
Taylor Sheridan. This is a movie that you should totally see. Really good.
Good
That's
pick,
my number
Karen.
2.
Good pick.
So for my number 1, when we picked this as a topic, I was like, okay, well, number 1's easy, so I wrote it down. And literally just this afternoon, when I was telling my father what my top 5 list was, he was like, but that's not an anti-hero, he's just a hero. So now my nerve has been shaken a little bit.
I have a feeling I'll agree with your dad.
So I don't know if you've seen any of these movies. Rob, you might have.
Okay.
So I say movies.
Movies. Interesting.
Uh-oh.
Because
It's a
he's the
series?
main character of a trilogy.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
We don't know what we call this trilogy. Some call it the Dollars trilogy. Some call it something else.
Dollars. Wait, what is it, Rob?
The
Fistful of
A
Dollars?
Fistful of Dollars for a Few Dollars More, and Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which does not have dollars in the title, but is the third in this trilogy. And the hero is, of course, the man with no name, played by Clint Eastwood, who is just this drifter in the West. Shows up. There's trouble. He deals with it. He deals with it violently, if necessary, and he doesn't deal with it out of some sense of moral duty. He just deals with it because it's in his way. Then he moves on. Then he finds some more trouble and deals with that too. And so he is ultimately in the third film of the series, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. He's sort of the good, but we're clearly meant to understand that this is in reference to the bad and the ugly, who are even worse than he is, and that he's not actually good. He's just the least bad. But that's the thing. He's violent, greedy, no personality. He's just kind of a force of will, a force of nature.
But does he ever go after anybody good?
It is unclear that good people exist in the moral universe of these films.
Okay.
So that's, I think, the second one of mine that's true of. But yeah, no, he doesn't like kill orphans.
Sure.
But he also won't prevent an orphan from being killed unless it is directly.
Oh,
in his
okay.
best
I
interest
know
to
what
do
you
so.
mean. I know what you mean.
So I will say, in deference to Papa Brayton, let us say that I decide the man with no name, who I think is kind of the quintessential anti-hero. I'm like, that's always the way I thought of him. Let's say he's not. Let's say he's just the hero, which my backup for this would have been another Clint Eastwood role, Will, Money, and Unforgiven, which I won't go into, but if you haven't seen Unforgiven, phenomenal film, taps into Clint Eastwood's like thing as a star of Westerns. This character who we spend the whole movie rooting to do the thing that he needs to do, and then when he does it, we realized, oh shit, you're a psychopath. And like that to me is sort of the quintessence. But I'm sticking with The Man with No Name from A Fistful of Dollars, 1964.
I think I agree with your dad.
For a Few Dollars More, 1965, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. All three spaghetti westerns directed by Sergio Leone.
I think I agree with your dad, though, in the sense that there's a lot of Western movies like that where it's like, I'm not seeking
and I would
bad.
say they're all
True Grit.
anti-heroes.
Yeah, True Grit's
Yeah.
anti-hero. I would agree.
Like I would say those Western drifters who just sort of like go through and shoot people are all anti-heroes. This is just my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I'm saying I don't know that they are. I'm saying like
me,
if
they
you're
are.
just if you're not seeking out bad and you just come upon bad and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to take you out and then you move on. I don't know that classifies.
I mean,
I don't know. I'm with your dad. I'm going to talk to your dad
Although
about this.
there is
I'm
a
gonna give him
theme
call.
of a little Clint Eastwood theme to it because Max Kowalski, Gran Torino. So I think if you consider that an anti-hero,
I had
think
trouble with
he's
that one.
comfortably a hero. He's a crabby
Yeah?
asshole hero, but I think
Okay.
he's a hero.
See, so that's the one that didn't classify for me because I think he converted.
oh,
So that didn't meet my
That's true.
criteria. of,
Especially if you think of how
you're
the
an
movie ends.
asshole.
That's true.
It's hard to.
And then he was nice at the end.
That's true.
I thought about it,
Good
but
call.
he converted.
Like with The Man with No Name, he'll do things like. So in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, the ugly is his sidekick, played by Eli Wallach. And there's a scene where he allows his sidekick to strangle halfway to death, more or less just for fun. And
Yeah.
then he shoots the guy down, and like the guy gets pissed off at him as you would. But like that's the thing, he's not nice.
Yeah.
He's a real dick.
Yeah.
The Man with No Name.
well, we're gonna get
His name is Asshole.
In real life.
We're going to get pretty close then in philosophically here, Tim, with my number one. Again, I did not go based on my like of the movie necessarily. It's really more, did the character embody what an anti-hero? And again, you got more credit being more evil, and yet still I was somehow rooting for you. And you're going to get me rooting for you when you're battling vampires. Like, I feel like that's That's the ultimate thing that's going to bring someone out of there.
So this is Keanu Reeves and Bram Stoker's Dracula.
That's right.
Oh my gosh! Wait, Monster Squad.
But much like Tim's pick, where he lets kind of things happen. No, it's not Monster Squad. Lets things happen on the side with his brother, doing kind of some even a little crazier shit stuff than he would. I'm just saying if Tim can maybe get it.
No, I think I can get it. I think I can get there.
Yeah, but the Gekko brothers. Am I?
Oh, hey, tell me what it is.
The anti-hero for
don't tell me.
is Seth Gekko. You've never seen this movie. Played by George Clooney from Dusk Till Dawn.
Bastards, Inglourious Bastards.
No, from Dusk Till Dawn.
The vampire hunting movie that is Inglourious Bastards. Almost as good as the werewolf movie, The Hateful Eight, in my mind.
But Quentin Tarantino is in this as
He
the...
sure is. He wrote it.
Yeah,
Wait, what's the actual movie?
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, okay.
The creepy-ass brother played by Quentin Tarantino who does do some even more unsavory things than his brother. Seth Gekko, played by George Clooney, just wants money. Like, that's all he wants. He's a bank robber. His brother's a little bit more on the creepy, crazy side, sadistic, does some weird stuff. He kind of just accepts it. It's his brother. He loves his brother. Goes away with it. Gets away with it. Takes some hostages, and it's like a road trip movie. They're going through Mexico for a while, and they stumble upon this bar. And they go in, have a couple drinks. They're letting their hair down. Door shut. Turns out this is not just a normal bar, after-hours bar. It is a vampire haven where they lure tourists in, lock the doors at night, and then shit goes crazy.
It's fascinating because, like, the movie very famously in the middle changes genres.
Yep.
Like, it is a
Where does it go from what to what?
It's like a Western action heist movie that turns into a like survive the vampires thriller.
Okay.
And I know you're not. I don't think you're big on George Clooney in general as an actor. I don't know where you are.
That's quite untrue.
Oh, it's not true? Okay, good. Because
I'm not super big on this movie. I think the vampire half is very good.
Yes.
The first half I don't have.
I find George Clooney carries for me a lot of charisma, and his turn with Seth Gekko.
Is he a vampire? George Clooney?
He is the one who has to survive the vampire.
Oh, okay.
And he has these hostages with him who he's taken hostage because he's stolen a bunch of money. He's just trying to get back to his money, and he realizes might as well work together, and I will be the leader of this ragtag
It's
group.
interesting. It's solid. It's a very 90s Miramax film by Robert Rodriguez. Like, it has a very clear-cut set of limitations.
And I'm sure now that you're saying Miramax has some Weinstein connections, now I regret having this on my list.
That's all right.
But nonetheless.
Lots of great movies were tarnished by, we can't start throwing them all out.
So here's the thing. Watch this movie, but don't pay any money for it.
No, don't pay any money for it.
He doesn't get any money for it.
So it's fine.
Like, he's not part of Miramax anymore. He's not part of anything.
It's fine.
But even so, like, this isn't a movie you go out and you pay big bucks to go see.
What,
just
say the title again?
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay.
He is still a psychopath. George Clooney is, and still crazy, but he's very charismatic. This is his first out of ER. Like, I was watching ER as a kid and was enjoying him in ER, and then saw him in this role, and I was like, holy shit!
Wasn't it?
This is the coolest.
You know where his first role was?
The coolest guy I've ever seen. Roseanne.
No.
He was in Roseanne.
He was the one with
General
all
Hospital?
No. What's the show with all the girls? With the girl with the mullet.
Oh, sure.
And then
Facts of Life.
Trudy, Facts of Life.
Was he
was
in
in Facts of Life.
Again,
Interesting.
Cannot confirm or deny.
It's a fact. It's
a fact of life. But if he's effortlessly cool in this movie.
But is he trying to save the people? Is he trying to save the people?
This was in fact the first George Clooney film when he was like George Clooney and not guy who would have showed up.
Facts of Life?
What?
Was he in the Facts of Life first?
I'm looking at his filmography.
Oh, okay.
He was in The Facts of Life. Of course, he also was in, I forget this, he was in two different shows called ER. One was a 1984 hospital drama, and then the other one was, of course, ER. He
has the sweetest tat kind of going up it's a sleeve tat, but then goes up to his neck. Like, I wanted to be Seth Gekko, even though he was a murderous psychopath. And, super charming. Carrie, you asked, does he save people? He saves people because he knows that by having them help him kill vampires, it helps benefit him.
Oh, okay.
It's the only reason he's really after it.
Okay.
Does he kind of start liking some of the characters? Maybe a little bit, but he would throw them to the wolves and sacrifice them if it meant benefiting himself.
Okay.
So
I'm tempted by that.
Yeah, I think you might like this movie.
I don't know. I would still like to hear your response to it.
See it.
Well, every week we ask you to share your picks and thoughts for a chance to win a free Amazon movie rental. Based on the results, here are your top 5 picks. Tim, tied for number 5 was actually And some people listed as Blondie. Is that not his name? The guy with no name?
Well, he's called that in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Okay.
He's called something in every one of the films.
So
but it's clearly never his
mentioned
actual name.
quite a few times by our audience members in different. I kind of combined the three movies into one.
I'm counting all three. But
Also tied for fifth was Lope de Aguirre from Aguirre, The Wrath of God.
oh yeah, Aguirre.
Aguirre. Standing alone, number 4. When you were actually mentioning the Fistful of Dollars trilogy, I actually thought this is what you were talking about was Mad Max.
Oh,
So standing alone, number 4, Mad Max.
There's an
He's
argument to be
anti-hero.
there. He's not quite as craven.
No.
Like come Fury Road, come Thunderdome.
Yeah.
He's just a hero.
Yeah.
I'd say.
I'm with you.
Like Mad Max and Road Warrior, especially Road Warrior. Yeah, I can see it.
Number 3, not sure on the hero part maybe on this, but I haven't watched a lot of The Godfathers, but Michael Corleone.
I think by the standard of if we're rooting for this person to win despite our better judgment, yes.
Okay.
So he meets mine, he doesn't meet yours,
Okay.
I'd say.
Snake Plissken at number 2.
Mhm.
And number 1, a movie I've not seen, but far and away number 1, Redmond Barry from Barry Lyndon.
I'm ashamed of myself.
Oh, you like that one?
That's a great choice. Great
Okay.
movie, great anti-hero. I'm embarrassed.
This may have made the list?
I don't know. I like my list, and I wouldn't have wanted to bounce Lorraine from Atomic Blonde because I liked having 2 women on my list, but I'm...
Good job, audience. Audience had some good picks. Our lucky winner this week is Paul 2. Paul 2, shoot us an email at contact@alternating for details on how to claim your free movie rental. If you want to win a free movie like Paul 2, be on the lookout for our spoiler or top 5 movie posts on Facebook and Twitter to share your favorite picks. In closing, thanks everyone for listening. Check us out on social media. Go out to our Facebook page and like it. Twitter, Instagram, we're all over the place. Alternating.com, that's where you'll find our movie reviews, podcasts, and more. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Google or wherever you find your podcasts. And don't forget about joining us on Patreon. As little as $1 a month can give you access to all of our exclusive content.
And will also make us very happy.
It'll make us very
and
happy.
we'll be able to stop eating ramen.
Oh yeah, but I do love my cup of noodles, my ramen noodles.
Tim doesn't. Tim
No.
doesn't like the
You're
ramen.
ready for a change?
I'm ready to
He wants to
graduate
add some
like
broccoli.
spaghetti or something.
Yeah.
I didn't have it written down what we're doing next week, but I don't have to because next week's
the Oscars.
It's our biggest episode
Sunday.
of the year. So we're going to
What
be
are we
actually
doing?
pushing
We're gonna
Yeah.
watch ourselves the Oscars on Sunday. We're gonna record God
What's the
knows
episode?
when.
What do we do?
We're talking about the Oscars.
But I mean, do we like have to
Who
pick?
won? No, we don't
okay.
pick nothing.
This is awesome. We don't have to do
So
any
we're
work.
gonna talk ourselves about the Oscars, and of course, don't forget we have an Oscars predictions contest going on the site right now. so be
Moonlight
sure
is
to-
definitely going to win, I think.
Moonlight might not win this
don't know.
year.
Yeah, we do
We'll
have a
see.
contest going on, $150 to the winner. You can win by just being randomly selected, as well as having the most predictions. Last year, Tim and I think came in second or third. Not that we would have qualified for
You
it.
beat
but-
me by 1.
Oh, did I beat you?
think you beat me by
I
1.
thought we tied. Well, that's
I
good
think
news.
I actually
appreciate
might
the
win this
honesty.
year. I think I've seen almost all the movies this year, and I feel
right.
really good about it.
right.
And I'm a great guesser.
Well, be sure to catch us then.